Hello, everybody. I am the Dino Gamer 556, and today I am going to be showing you a very realistic and very hypothetical situation. Oh, but don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and of course, check out my other videos. It is time for me to introduce to you our contestants for the day. And first up, we have...
Denominator, the root of all your recent adventures. Mr. Puzzles!
Unfortunately, I could not find, any, cool introduction type thing for our next character who I don't really know much about or the show he came from. I just did specific research on that one said character and watched some clips that he had that were posted on YouTube to see his powers. Introducing everyone's other favorite TV villain, Vox. So, in this hypothetical battle scenario, I decide, not you in the community, I'm very sorry, I'm going to be analyzing both characters, Mr. Puzzles and Vox, looking at their abilities, accomplishments, and, well, I'll end up deciding who I think should take the crown as the most powerful and best TV villain, based on who would win in a battle to the death. But first things first, I'm going to get some rules out of the way. Number 1. You see, in the SMG4 movie Puzzle Vision, Mr. Puzzles has a TV dimension where he is in complete control. I would say this is blatantly unfair, and we should at least give Vox a chance in this battle. If it took place there, well, Vox could still destroy Mr. Puzzles, but Mr. Puzzles could just come back and instantly destroy Vox. And I feel like that would be unfair and uninteresting, and come on, we want a real battle here. And we don't want this video to end in 2 minutes like my others. So, without further ado, let's analyze our first opponent, Mr. Puzzles. Aside from having an amazing villain song, Mr. Puzzles has a pretty decent power. You see, Mr. Puzzles gets more powerful the higher rating he has, and we see once he achieves 5 stars, he'll be able to control actual people's real lives, as he says in the song.
When those stars hit 5, I get creative control of your real life.
Also, he must have a lot of durability, because he cut off his face and put a TV in its place. Most normal people would not survive that. Especially, cutting off your face, putting a TV. No, you're not going to survive that. So, just surviving that thing alone is already giving Mr. Puzzles some good things. But we also noticed that he has the power to shoot energy, like Inteleon shoots water out of its gun hand. So, he can basically finger gun you with energy and disintegrate you. He can also change his size from bigger to smaller. But there is one little flaw with that, based on his star review. If he has 0 stars, or any stars, maybe even 3, he is nowhere near as powerful. We saw after he lost all his stars, he had no influence in the real world, and was just a random TV guy who couldn't do anything. But if he had 5 stars, that greatly helped him in this battle. But that's not his main flaw. You see, Mr. Puzzles' main flaw is this. You see, in the movie, Mr. Puzzles gets chased by Mario, and this powerful villain is absolutely brought down to size because he is terrified. He is running away, he's being absolutely beaten, and it's almost seen as pathetic of how Mr. Puzzles, this amazing, awesome, powerful villain, is getting beaten by this guy who just wanted to watch some TV. So that definitely will minus him some points. And aside from being a coward and not having any actual battling, the only fights you see him in are fights where he loses, like in the finale against the SMG4 gang. So things aren't really looking well for Mr. Puzzles. But his powers do scale and help. If he has 5 stars, he has a great advantage in the battle. And this only helps him. The only problem is he's sometimes a coward and might not be the best fighter. But he definitely has the powers to put Vox in check and even give him a run for his money if he knows how to use him and goes in with a good strategy. But now, enough talk about everyone's favorite Mr. Puzzles. Now, we're going to analyze and see what would happen and what Vox has that could help him in this situation. Now, despite the fact that we don't actually see Vox get into a fight, he has a lot of good things going for him, like definitely being faster than Mr. Puzzles. From what I've seen from clips, he apparently has the power to travel into almost any electronic with a screen, or he's been seen turning into, like, electricity, traveling into cameras. He can travel into watches and even TVs. So, who's to say that Vox can't, well, hijack Mr. Puzzle's TV head himself and take him over? But that's not the main thing that we're talking about in terms of Vox, because just like Mr. Puzzles, Vox also has his way of controlling people through his hypnotic right eye. His right eye will sometimes look like sound waves and even have his pupil turn into a sound wave to hypnotize his enemies. By this, he will definitely, if Mr. Puzzles looks at him for too long, yeah, it's basically over, because Vox's hypnosis will definitely be helpful. But here's a couple things. Vox gets angry really quickly and definitely has anger issues. We see this in the Stay Gone song sequence, which is the only song that I know, and it's pretty good actually. But we see him, while in his duet fight, when he gets really angry, he ends up crashing himself. He gets so mad, he glitches out and crashes himself, taking out a lot of power. So, this is definitely one thing he'll have to avoid from losing, because if he gets too angry, he could crash on himself, and if he crashes on himself and will lose his consciousness, that's basically an instant win for Mr. Puzzles. But, again, we haven't seen Vox's powers, or, I guess, in fights, but we still have seen what he can do, and there's probably more things that he is capable of. Honestly, it's looking pretty good for Vox right now, having the power to hypnotize and traveling into any electronics and being incredibly fast certainly does help in a battle. Not only when you mention the fact that Mr. Puzzles is at a major disadvantage for not having any, much fighting powers, and is only powerful when he has a certain star rating. But Mr. Puzzles still has a chance. And now I'm going to think to myself for a little bit and decide who I think is the winner of this hypothetical battle situation. So, after gathering up data and stuff that I know, the winner in this hypothetical battle situation is going to be Vox. Barely. You see, in a fight between the two of them, Mr. Puzzles and Vox will definitely be, well, good opponents. But this depends again on Mr. Puzzle's star rating. Maybe if he had a star rating, he might have actually beaten Vox, but that's just too hypothetical, and I guess we could say in this fight he'd have around 4 stars, because he only achieves 5 stars once, and it can be ruined easily by him getting humiliated. So even if he does have 5 stars, Vox can ruin his show and take it away from him. And Vox's hypnotic eye and being able to travel in electronics means he can easily dodge any attacks if there's electronics anywhere near, or, again, even hijack Mr. Puzzles himself, because we know he is technically a robot electronic after we see him get shot in half in the movie. So, I think this makes sense to me. Vox and Mr. Puzzles are both very powerful TV people, but in the end, I feel Vox is just the better choice in terms of who would win. But that doesn't mean who is more stronger. Because if this was in Mr. Puzzles, well, TV dimension, he would instantly win. So, for all you Mr. Puzzles fans out there, number one, I'm sorry that he probably would have failed this fight, but at least know better knowing that he almost won, and I was almost considering him, but thinking about Vox's abilities and what he can do and how he will be able to dodge attacks, and the fact that Mr. Puzzle's experience is not very good and he gets beaten by, well, not the best cast of foes from what I can see. I mean, he got beaten by a sentient meat mallet. That's kind of embarrassing. And ran away from a fight despite the fact that he has all this power and his own electronic body malfunctions while fighting Mario at some point. And if he takes enough damage, that's probably going to happen against Vox. But if you enjoyed this video, then why not check out my other videos on my channel? Maybe even hit that subscribe button. But until then, I'll see you guys later.